My name is So-Young Kang, and I'm the founder and CEO of Gnowbe. It stands for Grow Knowledge into Being, and as a nerd, it's a nerdy name. It comes from the word gnosis for knowledge, and it's also about really transforming learning. So today I'm about to explain to you Digital Learning 2.0, the age of mobile, social, learn by doing. And if you stay till the very end, I have a free gift, which I'm very, very pleased to announce at ASU GSV for the first time. And so please stay around for the next 7 minutes to get that. As all of you know who come from the corporate space, learning is very broken, it's very clunky, and how many of you are tired of PowerPoint decks, PDF documents, and how many of you ever actually access it again after going through a training program? Most of the time it gets actually chucked away and actually gathers dust. So we know that the modern learner is looking for something multimedia, something that's really bite-sized, something that's in their pocket and accessible all the time. But the shocking truth is that we're still quite old school in terms of how we're delivering content and spending billions of dollars actually on that. We know that if we look at the whole space of e-learning, there was a major, 7 years ago when all the e-learning unicorns now have actually entered the market to really deliver training at scale, at speed to millions of people around the world. So then the question is, the market was very kind to the early pioneers. They've all become unicorns. So the question here is, what's next? So we believe that the next phase is going to be mobile first, social, learn by doing. And so the two things to note on this chart, I think one is, you notice that one of these players has fewer courses, fewer students, yet is valued more. The second thing is in terms of time, I think the next phase of mobile is actually coming, and Gnowbe is well positioned to really be leading that charge. So what makes this one company, Udacity, very, very different? It's actually because what they've been able to do is close the gap between employment and education. And so what we've been doing actually at Gnowbe for the past less than 2 years has been partnering with executive education, with training institutes, corporate academies on the skill side, as well as with governments, in order to then link that to employment. Because the true value is taking existing employees, helping them to upskill themselves, gain confidence, to be able to get promoted, and to be relevant in the age of robots and machines, but also to be able to get other people to actually become employable. And so we're very, very excited to be able to close that whole employment and skills gap. We have a very experienced team of entrepreneurs in the enterprise space and technology, but also the platform has been validated by experts from Harvard, from IMD, who actually understand the educational part of Gnowbe, because we are based on the science of adult learning. We're not just a tech platform that's delivering content, because there's a lot of those out there. We're really passionate about true adult transformative learning. And so how do we actually deliver that? So there are three main ways in terms of how we're actually being able to do that. The first part is around mobile first. How many of you take your smartphones to the toilet? Oh, you guys are not being honest. About 80% of us take our smartphones to the toilet. There's something very different about mobile first versus mobile responsive. A lot of it is in the tactile experience. We touch our phones 3,000 times a day. I'm actually nervous now because I don't have my smartphone with me, right? We touch it 3,000 times a day. So the way that you design content for mobile first must be different than designing for mobile responsive, which was designed for this, assumed your learner was sitting down. So you actually have to design the content and rethink and reimagine the content to be small, bite-sized, and tactile. Extremely important. The second piece is about being social and personalized. Now with Instagram and Facebook, you're able to then create social experiences so that there's peer-to-peer learning, because we know that adults learn through learning from each other. The last piece is about learn by doing, because the truth is, who cares how much you know about sales if you don't close a deal? It's not about how much you know, but it's about what you do and the impact you actually drive in a business. And so when we talk about learning, we all know that in the very, very beginning of learning, the x-axis, you need content. So learn by knowing is really critical. There are lots and lots of amazing players who are actually providing great quality content. But in order for things to stick, we actually know the rule of 21 days of practice in order to make a habit. So that daily practice in 10 minutes a day actually starts to embed that learning. But then the z-axis is actually about thinking, sharing, and reflecting. When I actually reflect, I can take ownership of what I've learned, and I'm much more actually going to be able to retain that information and apply it on the job when I actually take ownership. And the moment that I share, there's something that happens psychologically where I now take ownership of what I've shared, and I'll have more accountability because I've committed to it. And so as a result of this learning methodology, we were seeing 10 times higher engagement. Over 90% of people who use Gnowbe love it. So we'll give you all a chance to be part of that 90% as well. So in terms of the way it actually works, this is based on, for all of the educational nerds out there, transformative learning theory and Noel's work on transformative. So the way that we break it down is very simply learn, which is a piece of content. It could be a video that I share with you about transformative learning theory. Think is I'll ask you a question. I'll say, what did you take away from the 7-minute talk I gave? Then I'll ask you to apply. How would you apply that in your daily work today? Take a picture, upload a video of you or someone doing that, and why don't you share that in community? So through a very, very simple platform, we're able to actually bring that to life. And so in the less than 2 years that we've launched to the public, we actually, our revenue, we make revenue. We have over 50K in revenues. We're actually closing deals faster than we can keep up. So the team has been growing. Since I was here last year, we've tripled actually in size, in revenue, users, and also in team size. So we're very, very blessed and grateful for that. In terms of kind of how we've been growing, we're actually on track to grow 4 to 5 times this year because we are focused on the enterprise space in terms of growth of users, as well as program creation, as well as revenues. In terms of how we plan to scale and to reach billions, we've really been focusing it on the B2B, on the enterprise space. And then recently, we started to partner with training institutions, executive education, in the B2B2C space. And so what actually happens with that secret circle number 2 is that then provides quality content that actually can be provided for the enterprise who want ready-made off-the-shelf content, as well as for the consumer space. And so with that, we actually are seeing significant impact in terms of engagement rates from training companies as well. And I'm very, very proud to announce, as I close, the launch last week of over 80 micro-learning courses. So my free gift to all of you, if you go to Gnowbe Learn, we'll be able to provide you with the first and now the largest mobile-first content library in the world. Thank you very much.